All right, our speaker today is Laura Sheptoski, and she has been part of the Weidert family for 8 years. She's a consultant and guided onboarding coach, and her insight and years of experience have made her a very valuable team member. Her strategy and understanding of HubSpot helps her guide clients and improve their results. And today she'll be sharing 12 ways to get more out of HubSpot. And Laura, the screen is all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. Welcome, everyone. As Mary said, we're thrilled that you're all here today. Most of you know me already from past hugs, from being our hug leader for just about the past year and a half or so. But for those of you who don't know me, as Mary said, my name is Laura Sheptoski. I'm an inbound marketing consultant and guided onboarding coach here at Weidert Group. And I'm coming up on just about 8 years working with the agency and therefore with HubSpot every single day. Outside of the agency, I love to bake. I love to tackle any sort of organizational challenge. And luckily for me, I have 2 little ones at home who give me plenty of opportunities to do both of those things. So a little bit about me. I also want to introduce Frank, Stacy, and Kelly, who you should be able to see their videos on the left-hand side as well. They also are Weidert Group veterans who are going to be helping me present some of these really great HubSpot tools to you as well. So you'll see them pop in and share their expertise as well. So Frank and Stacy are strategists on our team. Kelly is our marketing manager. So thank you to those 3 for helping as well. And you'll be hearing from them shortly. All right, so let's talk about why we chose this topic. I'm assuming most, if not all of you, are HubSpot users as you're coming to this HubSpot user group. And there's a few reasons. So you know our topic today is 12 ways to get more out of HubSpot. There's a few reasons we chose this, mostly because there's so many great things about HubSpot, as you guys all know. So many, in fact, that it can be a little overwhelming. And we've learned a lot over our past many years as a HubSpot partner. We've seen a lot, as I said, almost 8 years for me working in the tool. So I feel like I've seen a lot of the nitty gritty, a lot of things that can often be overlooked, or maybe they're things that you've heard of, but you just don't quite know how to put into use. Or like I said, things that you're just maybe not even sure are out there in the HubSpot ecosystem that are things that you could bring into play to get more out of the tool, to get more out of what you're doing with the tool already. So we wanted to make sure that we highlight some of these really great tools. Now, that being said, of course, there are way more than 12 ways to get more out of HubSpot. So many, in fact, that we could do multiple hugs related to this. But we wanted to hone in on these 12 just to, well, for the interest of time, but just to make sure that we really cover many of the different corners of HubSpot and show you the different ways that you can get value out of the different hubs. That being said, I do have a question. Unfortunately, we don't have the poll feature in Bevy, but if you guys want to use the chat, I'm just curious, which hubs are you guys using? Do you have, so HubSpot has Marketing Hub, they have Sales Hub, they have Service Hub, they of course have their CRM and their CMS. So I'm curious in chat to hear, generally, I think a lot of us are used to the Marketing Hub, but what hubs does everyone use so far? Sales Enterprise, a Marketing Starter, Marketing and Sales, awesome. CMS, great. Anyone using the CRM? Wonderful. So lots of marketing, which is what I expected. Like I said, we're going to cover a lot of the different facets today. And if you're like me, when you first get to know the HubSpot ecosystem, when you start to understand just how big it is and how involved it is and how many different tools there are within it, you might feel a little bit like this. There's so much there. There's so much to dive into. Like I said, things that can be overlooked, that maybe aren't being used in the best way to get that ROI. But my goal after today is that you'll feel more like this. And if it's not clear, that sugar rush is like excitement, like let's get to work, let's do this, let's put some more stuff into play and get more out of our HubSpot. She might look a little scared, but it's excited. So that being said, let's dive into our 12 ways to get more out of HubSpot. I put an asterisk here. I realize I've said 12 ways already, a bunch, but we actually snuck a bonus 13th in after we published everything about the event. So it's actually 13 ways, but just to marry the title with what you guys had already seen, 12 with an asterisk, ways to get more out of HubSpot. All right, this very first way is HubSpot's pop-up forms. This is something that's available across all of HubSpot's products, all of their plans, whether you're on free, starter, pro, enterprise, whatever the case may be, whatever hub you're working in, you do have the access to use pop-up forms. This is something that previously was called lead flows. So you might hear that language from time to time, especially for people who'd been around for a while. We're used to calling them lead flows. But HubSpot now calls them pop-up forms, and you'll see them right within HubSpot called forms, pop-up forms. And really what these do is they give you the ability to do these really great user-friendly forms outside of like your static forms on website pages. They give you the ability to do these true pop-up forms. But what's nice about it is you don't have to necessarily make it a pop-up. You can have something slide in. You can have something slide up from the bottom or down from the top, in from the left or right. So it doesn't necessarily need to have that negative connotation of something that's popping up and interrupting somebody's experience on your website. But what's nice about these is that it gives that little element that is different than just a form that's built into a page. It makes people see them. It makes people hopefully want to interact with them if you put them in the right page at the right time. And as you'll see here, one of the benefits as well is that they're super customizable. So you can decide what they look like, when they appear on the page. So if it's after they've scrolled so long or after so many seconds, it'll pop up on the page. But what's great is you can also customize who sees them. So if you have a list of contacts, and let's say based on their industry from a different form that they filled out, that you want to show a really specific pop-up form only to people who meet this certain industry, you can do that. You can customize when they see it, where they see it, who sees it. Another great thing about them is that it just provides you that other opportunity to get information from people on your website in a different format, in a different way that they might not have otherwise engaged with. One of our favorite places to put a pop-up form is to do it like when somebody's about to exit the page. You can do a pop-up that says, hey, before you go, you might want to check out this resource, or do you want to take this with you? Do you want to grab the PDF? Just put your email address in here. There's a lot of really great ways to use it, but we find that to be a really helpful one, that before people leave, give them one last opportunity to hopefully exchange their information with you. Our next tool here is tasks. And so you're going to see this on every single slide. I have where you can find this, what hub you get this with. So tasks are available starting with that HubSpot CRM free version. So obviously, if you have the free CRM or anything above that, the paid version, you'll also have access to these tasks. And what's nice about tasks, this tool, is that if you don't have a separate project management software, or even if you do, if you've got a bunch of people working in HubSpot and you want to be able to keep track of a list of tasks specifically as it relates to what you're doing within the tool, or if it has nothing to do with the tool, you can do it as well. But it's helpful to be able to put this list of tasks directly in HubSpot. Everything lives in one place, lives together. And you can also associate those tasks with specific contacts or company records. So let's say you want to give yourself a task to remember to follow up with so-and-so at this company. You can go right on their record within HubSpot and create a task for yourself, similar to what you see in this screenshot here. And you just start putting in all of the information. What is the task? What needs to be done? When does it need to be done by? Who's going to do it? Are you assigning it out to someone? And it's really great. It'll send an email notification when that task is coming due. Obviously, like I said, you'll see all of that information directly within HubSpot. So it's nice that you're not relying on people's own lists. You're not, you can keep all of that information in one place, You can see what's going on, who has what tasks, when they've been completed, things like that, which obviously allows for really nice, easy team collaboration when you have multiple people working in the tool. Now, if you have the Sales Hub, as noted here, you can do more with tasks too, which is nice. So you can automate tasks. Obviously, instead of manually putting them in, you can automate them based on stages that they're at within their deal. You can also create tasks in sales sequences. We're going to talk about sequences a little bit later, but in those sales emails that you send out, you can create tasks as part of that as well. So as I said, just a really great way to compile everything that your team is working on specific to what you have going on with your inbound efforts with HubSpot, the tool specifically, and keep them all in one place, have that historical data, get to know over time how things are going, how long it's taking to do certain things. And then of course, if you need to clone them in the future, there's a really easy ability to do that as well. So you're not continually creating all the same tasks. All right, our third way here is custom bots. Again, this is available starting with the free CRM. And this is, you'll also hear this sometimes referred to as chat flow. That's how it shows up in the HubSpot menu, the dropdown. So this is just like what you see in the screenshot here, and just like what I'm sure every single one of you have experienced on almost every website you've been to over the past few years. In fact, I would argue we've all come to expect chat on certain websites. I know I'm much more likely to just try to do a quick chat with someone to try to get something resolved versus going through the process of trying to find the right person or calling, whatever support number or whatever the case may be. So HubSpot gives you the ability to use these custom bots. And what's really cool about this is that you can do it not only on your website, but you can do it on Facebook Messenger as well. So if that's an avenue that you have people coming to your Facebook page, interacting with, you can put a chat right up there via Messenger as well. And what's nice about the way that you customize it in HubSpot is that you can set this really pre-planned logic to say, all right, how do we want to interact? What questions do we want to ask? How are we going to walk these visitors through the process of engaging with the chat, making sure that, we get the information that we need so that we can then, before we help them, we can start qualifying them. It's a really great way to, sort of like the pop-up forms, another way to just get information from your visitors on the site, give them that other opportunity to start interacting. And it's super user-friendly. Again, like I said, everyone's used to chat. Everyone wants to see chat. And it just gives you that opportunity to customize where it goes on your site. Again, similar to pop-up forms, you can customize who sees chat and when they see chat and where they see chat. So you can get really specific with how you're using those bots and how they're interacting with your visitors. Any questions? I'm going to take a look at the chat pane here. Okay, looks like we're doing well. All right, let's talk about our fourth tool here, and this is the ticketing system within HubSpot. So again, this is another one that's available starting on HubSpot's free CRM. And this ticketing system, it's really specific to, it's meant for service inquiries, but really this allows you to, whether you've got customers asking questions, looking for support, whatever the case may be, however they're interacting with your service team, or your customer team, just really making sure that you're getting all of those inquiries into one place. Again, sort of like tasks. I think it's too common where things maybe live on somebody's desktop, or somebody maybe has a Google Sheet. And there's different ways, there's different places where things are being kept. This allows you to have everything in one centralized location, which is great because then you can track trends over time as well. It also allows you to put priority on certain tickets so that you can say, okay, this is a really, really critical issue. We need to make sure that this one gets resolved first versus, this question that we can answer a little bit later. What's nice too is that you can create ticket pipelines. So whatever the workflow is that a support inquiry needs to go through, whether it's, this person needs to first see it and then it needs to go to this team to review, and then this team needs to respond to it with these few things, whatever that workflow is, you can create specific pipelines and specific stages so that your tickets all go into the right places. You can categorize them correctly, so that it's not just one, big mess of all the different types of inquiries you might get. What's great about that too is that you can automate a lot of that service process using workflows and support forms. And so what that means is, let's say you've got a form on your website that says, I need help. I need to contact somebody about something. And maybe there's a drop down in that form that says, what do you need help with? And they've got a few different options to pick from. In that case, based on whatever option they pick in that form, you could send them directly into this ticket pipeline or this ticket workflow to make sure that the proper stages are being met. And again, just put it all in one place, and it allows for better visualization from your whole team to see what's happening with those tickets. Were there inquiries that haven't been responded to yet, or what's happening at every single stage in the process. What's also nice too is that you get really easy reporting, really easy analytics, which will allow you to improve your team operations, and then of course the customer experience along with that. All right, our next tool is ad retargeting. So this one, now we're jumping over to the HubSpot Marketing Hub. So this is available with HubSpot Marketing Starter and up. Of course, if you have Pro, Enterprise, etc., you'll still have access to this ad retargeting. But what's really great about this is that if you're using paid ads across Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, whatever the case may be, you can create audiences for those ads based on your website visitors, based on your HubSpot contact list, or on your existing audiences. So what does that mean? That means that you can decide, so for website visitors specifically, you can decide, okay, we know that we've had visitors hit this page of our website or come to our website in general, and we want to retarget them now. We want to show them a certain ad because they know about us. So if they see this ad, they'll go, oh yeah, I've seen these guys. So whether they visited your site in general, or if you want to go down the path of they visited our pricing page and they haven't converted yet, let's show them a really super specific ad about our services or our pricing or whatever the case, whatever the next step that you want to nudge them in the right direction. So you can get really specific on how you retarget people based on what they've seen on your site. Again, you can also do it based on your HubSpot contact list, your existing contact list. So maybe they have converted on something, but they're not quite a customer yet, but they live in our list of HubSpot contacts. Let's retarget them with these certain ads. Or like I said, your existing audiences. So really it's just using those audiences to retarget them wherever they are online, on Facebook, on Google, on LinkedIn, to make sure that they're seeing your stuff in front of their face again. You can also create what's called lookalike audiences on Facebook and LinkedIn. So people who are similar to your website visitors. So similar demographics. You can do these lookalike audiences on Facebook and LinkedIn of people who haven't seen your site yet, or maybe haven't heard of your company yet, but seem like they might be a good fit based on similar demographics to other people who have visited your website. So really great way to utilize that retargeting feature and making sure that you are, when you're doing paid ads, you're putting them in front of the right faces at the right time. Mary, any questions coming through? Okay.
No questions.
Perfect. All right. For this next one, I'm going to hand it over to Frank, one of our strategists. He's going to take you through the Google Search Console integration.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. So for long-term HubSpot users, you might remember the old keyword tool that HubSpot used to have, and it was a really sad day when HubSpot took that away, but there was some connection issues and just maintenance of keeping that data in sync. So for a long time, HubSpot didn't have that keyword data pulled in. But a lot of people don't realize that with the Google Search Console integration, which is a free integration and it's free to set up a Google Search Console account, you can pull in that data into your HubSpot account and actually attach that to your specific website pages, your specific blogs, and you can see, based on what you're targeting, which keywords those pages rank for, what is your average position for those terms, how many clicks and impressions you're getting in the SERP based on where your page ranks. And this can be really powerful for understanding how to further optimize those pages, and also just looking at your content strategy. So this also pulls into the SEO tool in HubSpot if you're doing topic cluster and pillar page planning to support your content strategy. So a lot of people don't know about this, and it's a really simple thing to set up. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can use this, not only just for on-page SEO, but also that content strategy piece. So if you don't have this set up, there's some really easy documentation to follow in the HubSpot knowledge base. It takes about 5 minutes to get connected, and then you'll start getting this data pulled into your HubSpot account. And then the next one, this has been in HubSpot now for a while. Let the page reload here. There we go. SEO recommendations. You may have seen this in your HubSpot account, and you might have been a little bit disappointed in what it pulled, but they just did an update. We were just alerted by HubSpot last week that they're now pulling more advanced information from another SEO tool. Ahrefs is the provider that it's pulling in from, which has some really powerful insights to know how you're doing for on-page SEO, overall accessibility of your site, the crawling and indexing. Are there mobile experience improvements and updates that you can make? It pulls these different categories. And if you want to just keep tabs on things on a monthly basis or do this check on a quarterly basis, you can go in and start to check off these recommendations, and it refreshes pretty quickly once it detects that you did those things correctly. So again, this is another powerful piece just to keep your website in tip-top shape as far as SEO, both on-page and technical. It looks like we have a question. Oh, sorry, I thought that was for the SEO question, or the SEO section. So Laura, looks like that's a question for the ads.
Yeah, I'll dig into that. The question was, what's the biggest difference between the HubSpot targeted ad feature and scheduling ads directly through LinkedIn specifically? The biggest difference in that case, so scheduling them directly through LinkedIn, that's doing just that, scheduling your ads to run right on the LinkedIn platform, which you still, of course, can do. The HubSpot retargeting that we're talking about is really just building those audiences that helps you show that the ad to like the people that have hit your website, for example, instead of building an audience in LinkedIn that just says, okay, based on that they work at these types of companies, or that their job description has this type of title in it, or whatever the case may be, a more broad audience. It allows you to do those really specific targeted, they have seen this page of our website. We don't know who they are yet, but they've seen this page of our website and they're on LinkedIn. What it does is it uses what's called a pixel, and it places this pixel. You place that on your website page, and then based on the fact that they've seen that they've interacted with that pixel, and then when they log into LinkedIn, there's all this background information that will then allow, based on the fact that they were on that page, or that they're on your website, or that they're part of this lookalike audience, or whatever the case may be, that then they see that really specific targeted ad, which is why that retargeting is just slightly different than just doing like that broad audience right within whatever social platform. Wonderful. Any questions on the SEO section for Frank? And we will have time for questions at the end, by the way. All right. Well, let's hand it over to Stacy, another one of our strategists, who's going to tell you about A/B testing.
Hi, everyone. So A/B testing is something that I think about a lot when I'm thinking about conversion rate optimization. And it's available to anyone who has Marketing Pro or CMS Pro licenses. And basically what it allows you to do is test different versions of pages. It could be a web page, landing page. It could also be a CTA or an email. And you can test different versions and different elements on each of those pages or within an email, and determine which one resonated better with your audience. So as an example, in an email campaign, you might want to test the subject line. I think that's a common usage of A/B testing, and one that maybe all of you have tried or used already. But the caution I wanted to just mention today is that while A/B testing is very cool, and you can think, wow, I want to test the subject line, I want to test the image, I want to test the color of the button, it's very important that you only test one thing at a time. So if it's an email campaign, for example, don't try to test the email itself and the landing page at the same time. Decide which one to start with, start with the email. And then additionally, if you're going to test something about the email, pick one thing on the email to test. So don't test the subject line and the header image, for example. Start with one or the other and just kind of chip away at it that way. So A/B testing is, much more effective the narrower you make it. So it gives you great insights. It also, shows you can see clearly the winner. You can help adjust your strategy going forward once you understand better what seems to be resonating with your visitors and your audience. So definitely worth the time to look into A/B testing. Just wanted to give you those cautions of not getting too excited and trying to test too many things at one time. So definitely something to look into if you're concerned about conversion rate, for sure.
Thank you, Stacy. All right, our next tool is lead scoring. So this is something that's available throughout the hubs, marketing, sales, service, all starting at that professional level. But this is a really great way to automate and make sure that you are collecting the right type of scoring for your leads so that you don't have to manually go through them all the time and decide, okay, is this one marketing qualified? Is this one sales qualified? What's the case? So this gives you a way to assign scores to different contact properties that they fill out via form, different activities that they take on the website. And you can start scoring them based on the way that they are interacting, based on the things that they're, like I said, filling out in a form. And what's neat about this is that you can give them positive scores or negative scores. So let's say you are collecting information on the form about their industry, because that's really relevant to, how you're going to score people. And they fit within your target industries. You might give them, obviously you'll give them positive points for that. If they are not a fit whatsoever, you might want to give them negative points because they're not a fit. We want to make sure that score never gets to that threshold of, saying that they're qualified. So you can give these positive or negative attributes based on a variety of different things that they do. And then you can, as that score builds up over time, you can set the threshold to say once they hit X amount of points, whatever it is, there's, you put some logic into how they'll build up points over time and what point allotments you'll provide for every single piece of the puzzle here. But based on, whatever that score ends up being, once they reach that number, we're going to automatically say, okay, now they're marketing qualified, or now they're sales qualified, or whatever the case may be. So it's a really great way. As I said, a lot of people I know manually go through their leads and take a look at them and decide, oh, this one's marketing qualified, this one's not qualified at all. So it just takes that element away and allows you to let automation, HubSpot, the tool, do it all for you, which then once they're segmented into these lists, you can easily put them into nurturing workflows. I put here to put them into administrative workflows, because that's a really easy way too to say, all right, they've reached the score, now assign them this marketing qualified lead status or whatever the case may be. So a lot of great ways to use that scoring to automate, as I said, a lot of that manual work that so many of us do otherwise. Any questions on lead scoring? Not seeing anything pop through. All right, let's go to our next tool here, which is email sequences. So shifting gears a little bit from more of that marketing side, getting into sales. This is available starting with sales and service pro levels. Email sequences, you heard me tease it a little bit when we talked about tasks toward the very beginning, but this is very similar in feel to your marketing workflows, your nurturing workflows, in the idea that we're setting up this sequence of emails that we're going to essentially nurture, or in this case, help people through that sales process. So when you think about the workflow side of the Marketing Hub, that's all about getting them, nurturing them through to sales readiness. Once they're sales ready, we're going to enroll them in these email sequences. So a similar idea in that we're creating this series of email templates that will, again, kind of nurture them as they go through this more bottom of the funnel part of their journey. But it allows you to set these pre-timed emails. And as you can see in the screenshot here, you can decide like what's the right cadence for when they're getting these emails. As I said earlier in that tasks section, you can use tasks for follow-up reminders, which is really great. If you've got a contact in an email sequence, you can set a task for yourself to check in on that, or, tweak the email as needed if you need to put some personalization in it for any reason. But it allows you to just make sure that without needing to set up a new send out manual emails every single time, it allows you to enroll sales ready contacts right within these email sequences. And what's unique about this one as well, different from the workflow idea, is that it'll automatically unenroll contacts once they reply to an email, or if they click like your calendar link right within, if you include your calendar link to say schedule a meeting, if they click that link and schedule a meeting, it'll unenroll them. So if you have a series of 4 emails, for example, and they reply to the second email, it'll automatically kick them out of that sequence so they don't get the automated 3rd email after, they've already converted. So a really great way to free up time for your sales team and to just automate some of these things that so many of us are doing manually otherwise. Sticking on that same theme of sales specific emails is one-to-one video creation. So again, something that's available starting with sales and service, professional level. But really what this does is it allows you to very, very easily add video to your one-to-one emails. And when we say one-to-one, obviously these are these more specific emails that are going to your sales prospects, to people that have made it further down in the funnel. These aren't, your blasted emails to a whole list of marketing contacts, right? These are, hey, we are following up. Maybe it's part of a sequence. We're following up, trying to find a time to meet, whatever the case may be. You can add a video right into that email, which has been difficult in the past. And what's nice about HubSpot and specifically in HubSpot, how you do this is that you've got a couple different ways. So you can see in this screenshot, you just go into insert when you're in that email portion of the Sales Hub, and you can insert a video. And once you click video, it'll give you the option to either record a video directly from your laptop with their free Vidyard integration, or if you're not a Vidyard user or you're not used to it, or you've got a different video existing, a file sitting on your desktop already that's ready to go, you can insert an existing video. So you can either record one like live right from your screen, or you can insert a video that you already have handy. So a nice way to add more personalization to your sales emails. And as I said, in the past, it's been a really clunky experience. It doesn't happen very easily. And this is it makes it very seamless, very easy to just get that right in the email. And then of course, get the analytics that go along with it. We know people like video. We know people would rather open a 10-second, 20-second video than read through an entire email. So a really great way to just get more out of your sales emails that way. All right. For these last few, I'm going to hand it over to Kelly, our marketing manager, who, again, most of you probably know already from being our previous HUG leader. But I'm going to hand these last few over to Kelly.
Thanks, Laura. So we've gone through a lot already. I hope you guys are still with us. But the last couple here that we're going to focus on are specific to the Service Hub. So if you, being a HubSpot user, you've probably heard of the flywheel. So if you think about the flywheel, it's important not to just focus on attracting and engaging leads and prospects, but also on delighting customers so that they become promoters of your brand, and you can turn all that promotion into marketing force. I just saw Chris post, we're hanging in. So thank you, Chris. So I'm going to end here with covering 2 Service Hub specific tools that can help you do just that. They help you with the delight stage. They have other, they can have other applications in the attract and engage stage for prospects too, but they have the more obvious use cases are with your current customers. So that's kind of what we'll focus on. So first up is knowledge base. A knowledge base, you're probably familiar with being a HubSpot user because you've probably used HubSpot's own knowledge base of articles. They have their academy that has like the courses and video lessons and things. And then they also have knowledge base, which is where all their articles, their help articles are housed in knowledge base. And if you've been in there, you've seen how they're tagged. They can tag them to a specific product, a specific category. So if you haven't played around in there, go check that out, and that'll really help you get a feel for what knowledge base is, what the tool is. But in its basic sense, it's a library of helpful articles, typically that you set up for your customers. And you can use it to answer frequently asked questions about your products or services. So for example, we work with a lot of industrial manufacturers. So if you're an equipment manufacturer, you could have a collection of how-to articles for each equipment model that you make. So things that maybe just right now would live in spec sheets and manuals, you could turn into knowledge-based articles and answer, specific, each article would answer a specific question, like what's the maintenance schedule for this machine? Or, how do I troubleshoot this problem if I'm getting this error on this machine? So you can significantly reduce your support calls, and you can also then track which articles are viewed the most often. You can use that intel for potential product improvements, things like that. So a lot of potential there. The other thing is, with knowledge base is kind of cool. You can make your articles public if you wanted all those things to just be out on your website. There are some SEO benefits to that. Think of that equipment manufacturer example. If they were searching for what's the predictive maintenance schedule for this type of tissue machine or something, your knowledge base article could turn up in search, and maybe they're not using your machine, but now they know about your company, and maybe they'll switch because they're having too many problems with their machine. So there are SEO benefits if you make them public. But if you don't want to make them public, if you want to put them behind a customer login portal, you can do that too with HubSpot. We actually have a knowledge base set up for ourselves internally for our client services team to answer frequently asked questions that we get. So that's really helpful as we onboard and train new staff members. So if you have like a customer support team and you want to document answers to frequently asked questions, but you don't want them to be public, you could set up an internal only knowledge base as well. So I think we're good there. I did put a link on that slide, and I think the next one too, to just some knowledge base articles about knowledge base. And then the next feature we'll talk about is feedback surveys. So put some handy links there to HubSpot's knowledge base articles about feedback surveys too. So this is another one that can really help you delight customers and measure delight. So, I forget who said it, but there's that saying that, you can only improve what you measure. So HubSpot's customer feedback tools, there's 3 types that I'll talk through. And these really help you measure customer delight so that you can not only turn it into marketing force, but also, find out where your weak areas are and how to improve your customer satisfaction. So the 3 types of surveys are customer support surveys. And so these are, Laura mentioned tickets earlier, customer support surveys. Actually, I think they're technically called customer effort score, but they measure like the ease, how easy was it for you to get this support issue resolved. So it's like a scale of 1 to 7, I believe. And it just says how satisfied were you with your interaction with our support team. And then the customer satisfaction surveys are slightly different. They're the one on the far right there in that screenshot, there's like a neutral, happy, sad face. So they're very simple, 1 question, and then you can give the option to provide more detail if you want to for the user. But they measure specific interactions with your brand. So you can set those up to trigger at key milestones in your customer lifecycle stage. And those these are more customizable because they don't have to be related to a support ticket. So for an example, we have key milestones when our clients launch a website or when they make it through a foundational phase of their inbound program, and now they've launched and we've gotten through that strategy phase. So you could trigger all of those surveys to send based on CRM properties. You could do it manually too if you wanted, but if you want to save yourself some time and kind of have a standard procedure for when those are set out, you can actually tie them to your CRM properties. So if you enter the date that website project was completed, it'll trigger the surveys to go out, for example. And then the other one is customer loyalty. So this is NPS, Net Promoter Score survey, and it asks how likely are you to recommend our company on a scale of 1 to 10. And all of these types of surveys, they can either be sent via email or you can display them on a web page. So you could like send them out and have them be on a web page, or you could send a link to the web page in an email, so you can use it more flexibly if you wanted to use a one-to-one email with the link instead of sending the actual survey in an email. You can do that. They're really user-friendly interface, and they're easy to customize to your branding. So if you want to change the buttons or you want to change the little icon that comes out of the box, you can customize them. But if you don't want to, they're super simple to use out of the box as well. The other piece of tying it in with your CRM and the HubSpot automation is that you can automate follow-up notifications and tasks for your team. So and you could do a literal task like Laura was talking about, or you could say, like in the notification email, if somebody responds with a sad face that they were dissatisfied, you could have a notification email go to that contact owner, and it'll say so-and-so responded with a negative feedback, and you can decide internally what the next steps are and just put that right in the notification email. Please follow up within 1 business day, with a phone call or something like that, whatever you decide your standard procedure is going to be. The other important thing, if you're gonna go about asking for feedback, you need to make sure that you have some kind of, internal cadence for reviewing that feedback, not just from like the notification standpoint, but collectively. Get a customer feedback team together once a month to analyze, look for themes, look for, again, product improvement opportunities, things like that, because your customer's time is valuable too. So if you're taking the time to ask them to give some of their time to complete a survey, even if it's just takes them a minute, make sure you're doing something with their feedback. That's all I've got, Laura.
All right. Well, with that takes us through all 12, or really our bonus 13. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Again, please use the chat pane. Please use the Q&A feature. But any questions that anyone has about any of these tools, or really anything else that you're struggling with using these parts of HubSpot?
One thing I'll say, Laura, while we're waiting for people to pop things in, and you can use the general chat or you can use the Q&A tab. Mary and I are keeping an eye on both of them. But some of the features that we talked about today, to do certain features, you might need like a pro level license. Just, like Laura mentioned, some of these are available starting with, the free version. But there's caveat. It's like anything with a freemium model. There's certain things you can do at the free level, but then if you want to do some of them more like the automation stuff, then you have to have the higher license level usually.
Yeah, good disclaimer. Thank you, Kelly.
We got a question from Mel, Laura. How do your sales teams feel about HubSpot? Are they totally on board, or is there a perception that it's a marketing only tool? I'll let you guys on the client service team handle that one.
Frank, were you just about to say something? Oh.
Yeah, I think based on other clients that have made the switch to the CRM, they're amazed at how simple it is. Maybe they're coming from a more complex CRM or sales process, such as a Salesforce, and they get in the CRM and they find that their team actually starts using it, based on how it was designed to be used. So a CRM is only going to be as powerful as the time you put into it, and if your team embraces it. So from our experience, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it has the things that are going to help sales members to be more productive and actually use those efforts, and then having that all tied into your marketing and HubSpot. The beautiful thing is you have that true synergy, that closed loop reporting between marketing and sales. So that's, from our perspective, if you can get them just to start using it, they're going to see pretty quickly the benefits of the HubSpot CRM and the sales, the related sales products that it comes with.
Thanks, Frank. Laura or Stacy, unless you guys want to chime in, the next two questions are about the Service Hub things I talked about, so I can take those.
Sure, go ahead.
From Chloe asked, is the customer survey option available in Sales Hub Enterprise? It is not. The customer feedback tools are only available with the Service Hub license. And then Ariel asked, do you know if you can have an internal knowledge base and a client-facing knowledge base at the same time? And yes, you can. When you set up your knowledge base, you can set up categories. And then within each article that you publish or within each category, you can do it at, I believe you can do it at either level. You can choose whether they're public or private, or if a sign-on is required. I think to have the sign-on feature, though, you may need to have Service Hub Enterprise. I'm not sure about that, but we can let you know, Ariel, if that's something you're looking to know. Just reply to the email that Mary's going to send out, and we'll help you look into that.
Thanks, Kelly. I don't see anything in the Q&A. Got about 10 more minutes, so if there's any other questions, feel free to post them here.
To note something, Laura, we today we didn't have a lot of time to we had presented 13 things, so it was hard for us to dive into the how-to part of these things. So just a quick reminder to everyone that, speaking of knowledge base, HubSpot has really great articles and really great how-tos as far as how to implement all of these things. So just a reminder to everyone that when in doubt, or if you're not sure what to do next or how to approach it, they have knowledge base articles on the very tactical part, and they also have a lot of content related to most of these things to help from a strategy perspective as well. So you can always tap into us, of course, but if you're looking for more information, just make sure you look in the HubSpot knowledge base to start.
Also, tons of different training and certification related courses and videos. So if you really want to master any one of these features, you have all types of things to dig into. I'm sure most people know that, but just a reminder to tap into those resources as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the one that sometimes even I forget about, Frank, too, is the HubSpot community.hubspot.com is their official forum. So if you're not finding the answer in a knowledge base article or an academy lesson, that's another good place to check. It's just, when you're searching a MacBook forum, how do I fix this on my computer? You can go to HubSpot and be has anybody ever done this with this tool? Or so if you can't find it in knowledge base documentation, that's another good place to kind of crowdsource information from.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if any more questions are going to pop in. Looks like we might be all set. Mary, do you want to take us through the next steps?
Yeah, I am going to be wrapping up the event, and I'll be able to send out the recording and the slides that Laura and team shared. And so I'll also put some of those links in that email for the community and knowledge base and things like that. And you can always reply to that email, ask us more questions, keep the discussion going. We'd love to hear what you think about it. So that's all that we have for today, and you'll be getting an email from me probably tomorrow with all that information.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you all. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll be planning our Q3 hug soon, so be on the lookout for information about that as more planning takes place.
All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.